Oledi, Sioludema, Yaliba, Deni Nobles, Nadadia Magindula.
Gambia, Yolola, Isokora, Mamora, Ajola, Damandika, Isokora, Mamora, Apula, Dasarabuli, Copacala, Isokora, Mamora, Walla, Bamajago, Copacala, Isokora, Mamora,
Nenero, the Damento.
Good morning, our viewers. Good afternoon. It's your Heart Talk Show that comes to you every other 2 Saturdays with me, Tyler Jobe, on the Sukuta Community TV. Today is a pleasure to have this very gentleman on this platform, and they will tell you who they are and what they've been doing in the past in the Gambia, and currently what they are also trying to do to make Gambia better for all of us. In our program today, we'll be looking at political issues that revolves around the country, and we'll also look at the last draft constitution that was voted, that was rejected by the House of Representatives in the Gambia. The reaction of people from both at home and in the diaspora. So we'll try to sound all these opinions, put them in one perspective. So on that, I have my panels or panelists on this show. I think it's like they're gone. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm here as well, yeah.
Yep. So basically, like I said, this is going to be a political talk show today. We are looking at the Gambia and the challenges, the coalition, the rejection of the draft constitution, and the way forward. So I have very important personnel here, volumed with experience. They know how it is. They are all best in their own forms. So I'll first start with the brother on my right, Mr. JAMMEH. Welcome to Sukuta Community TV.
Thank you, Mr. Tal, for availing me the opportunity to be part of your Sukuta TV and media. It's a great honor, for me personally, and my co-panelists as well, to come and obviously share, our experiences and obviously the issues and challenging issues that we are faced with. So I'm not sure whether we're going to do it in English or we're going to do it in our local language, but for the benefit of the audience.
Yes.
Then this is me.
And partly in Mandinka.
Yes. So yes, it is a great pleasure for me. I mean, as you said, I am MUSA JAMMEH from Bakau, and obviously recently I live in UK. And as you said, we all obviously in one way or the other wanted to work, to make sure that we develop our country and take it to the next level. And we all know for the past 54 years, our country has been drilling behind. And these are some of the things that we can do personally, individually, together to make sure that we get to where we wanted to get. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Musa. That was a very good introduction. So guys, just stay tuned. It's going to be an interesting topic that we'll be discussing about. On the other side, I have my brother. I call him my brother because now we are one big family. And on the other side, he's my Bitang because he's my in-law from the other side of the North Bank, Badibu. Welcome on board, Mr. Ensa. Tell us who you are and what is your take on this invitation.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, and I know it's good evening in some part of the world. Like Tyler rightly said, my name is Ensa Kinte. Prior to moving to the United States, I lived in Bijilo, Gambia. So Tyler called me a brother. I call him a brother and a mentor. This is a guy who inspired me greatly, and it's great to reconnect with you again, Tyler. It's great to reconnect with you again and Sukuta people. Even though I am not originally from Sukuta, but I have my mother living there. So I hope someday I'll be given the Sukuta citizenship.
Thank you very
Yes,
much,
yes. Mhm.
Ensa. So, since we have time and we just want to start talking about the issue, Mr. Musa, we all know time is always precious in the West. So, let's go to the draft constitution. We first start with that. Mr. Musa, what was your reaction when you found out that the National Assembly members and the government sent in a bill to the National Assembly and it was rejected? It was a democratic process, participation was done, and then at the end of the day, is rejected. How do you feel on that very particular day?
Thank you, Mr. Job, for asking me this important question. Personally, I felt very disappointed. The reason I felt disappointed, this is a draft that has the consensus of the whole country. From anybody who's from 16, 18 years was given the opportunity to take part into bringing in something that they feel is good to govern them and to obviously run our country to the way we wanted it to happen. And we all know the vigorous crisscross that has been done in the country to reach out to even the layman on the street to have their opinions. And again, we all know the CRC has opened the door for people to send in any suggestions, ideas, anything that they feel needs to be within the Constitution. All this has been done in the simplest possible terms to allow Gambians to partake in a very important document like our Constitution. And for me, since it has passed that stage, it is obviously the voices and the will of the Gambian people. And when we went to the National Assembly, I think we are disappointed as Gambians. In a sense, this is a very instrumental and important document of our country. And I think individualism shouldn't be put into our constitution, that people have spent resources, time, energy to obviously put their voices in. I think the National Assembly have done a dissatisfaction to Gambians. They've done a dissatisfaction to us. I think this bill should have passed and sent it to us for a referendum, and the Gambians can make up their minds that obviously this is not what we said, this is not what we expected. We will vote it at a referendum a big no. But it's unfortunate that this went to a place where we elected our people with a view that they will represent national interest, not individual interest, not their own personal interest. Yes, they are humans, they are Gambians. They have the right to make a choice and a decision. But once you are elected into a position, you have to listen to the wishes and the feelings of your electorates who put you into that position, but not obviously take advantage of the situation as most of them did and make a decision based on your own personal instinct and forget about your electorates who put you there to vote for a constitution that I felt obviously have captured the wishes and the feelings of Gambians. But again, you guys decided at the National Assembly to vote against it based on a clause in our 1997 constitution that we should have a certain number of people to pass an important document like our constitution. And it's unfortunate the constitution was rejected by the wishes of the minority, which I think wasn't right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jammeh. Ensa is now, I'll just turn on you from the legal point of view. Do you have, in one point, where you managed to affair yourself with this draft constitution? If yes, what is your own take on the whole draft constitution before we come into the discussions in details?
Yeah, thank you once again, Tala. Even though I have my own reservations with the draft constitution, for instance, when it comes to the issue of citizenship, um, and when it comes to the issue of vesting too much of right or too much power with the legislature. But I do believe that as far as Gambia's constitutional history is concerned, this is the most participatory constitutional process that we have ever gone through. So that alone is suffice for every genuine Gambian to allow chance for this draft constitution to be passed into a bill, and then subsequently go, to the Gambian people for to, vote for it, where the president will not have any other choice but to assent to it like it is, or unlike any other bill. For me personally, I think the draft constitution 2020, it is the most participatory, and I think the most thoroughly um, you know constitution that the Gambia has, or the Gambia will ever produce, if the NAMs allow it to pass from the parliamentary level.
Good. Considering that now it's been rejected, and we have seen the reaction from all areas within the political corners of the country. Now that it's just been thrown in the trash can, what is next for Gambia and what can be done?
Um, like most genuine Gambians would say, I think we need to also go back to the drawing board and ask ourselves. Because if you look at the 1997 Constitution, for instance, it is perfectly designed, like some other people would say, perfectly designed for a situation like this. The most important process in the Gambia, which is presidential elections, um, in the 1997 Constitution, if you have one vote ahead of ahead of your contestant, you are declared to be a winner.
That's
Why
like a
is
simple majority.
Yeah, simple majority? Why would that not be the case? In a process as important as bringing about a new constitution. So that in itself should ask you. Should ask us Gambians the question: do we in fact give our consent to what the 1997 Constitution is asking us to do? Some older people who are old enough, 70s and all that, ask yourself these questions. When the 1997 Constitution was coming into power, do we know and understand, or do we in fact participate for the existence of this 1997 Constitution? If the answer is yes, I think then we have no one to blame but ourselves. But if the answer is no, also we have no one to blame but ourselves as well. So we are relying on something that we don't in fact participate in the making process of that. The 1997 Constitution, no genuine Gambian will tell you when it was coming to power, I participated into it. In fact, at that time, there was no constitution in place. So it is automatic that it is going to be in place. There is no other option. If it doesn't pass, we are going to be ruled by degrees. We are going to be ruled by military rule. So the only option that we have at that time was for the 1997 Constitution to pass into a law. So we don't have no other option, like in the case of this one, where okay, we will not give chance to this. If you don't give chance to this, we will give chance to the 1997 Constitution to guide us through for as long as we want to. So I think that should be the question that we should go back to the drawing board to ask ourselves: who are we going to blame? And if you are going to ask us, if we are going to blame ourselves, the next step should be, what can we do now? And that is a question that you ask. What we are going to do now is to um, drop down all the personal interests and all the personal egos, sit on a table and sit at the drawing board and ask ourselves, in 2016, is this what every Gambian look forward to have? In 2016, is this what Gambia anticipate us to see today? If the answer is no, you know, we can start the whole process again. It's never too late. We can, you know, go back to the drawing board. I know people are looking at the monetary expense of it, but for me, I think democracy is not cheap. Even if it means for us to go back to $116 million to spend on, we can go back and do it again before 2020. We can bring in a new constitution if we are serious about it. But allowing us to sit back and let the 1997 constitution to guide us through for the next 20, 30 years, or for the next 5 years, it is going to be disastrous, and history will put us in the wrong books. Yes, that is my take on that, Tyler.
Well, thank you very much. Coming back to you, Mr. Jammeh, looking at the 1997 Constitution, We know there are some draconian laws. I'm not too familiar with the Constitution, but I know for one thing, censorship was key in the 1997 Constitution, and it was used as an instrument to silence certain people. We have seen people disappear. We have seen people being jailed for reason that suits the interests of the then government. Now, having this 1997 Constitution, don't you think, as a coalition that came with an objective of making Gambia a better country, making Gambia a country that is inclusive, irrespective of your tribe, irrespective of your religion, and all that thing? Do you think after 3 years or 4 years almost in the coalition government, is it not a failure that we are not even yet with a constitution that speaks the minds of me, you, and the generation unborn?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Jobe. Again, this is a very, very pertinent and important question. As my fellow brother have said before, we all obviously as Gambians agreed that the 1997 Constitution was tailor-made for an individual, because I was involved in the whole process of the 1997 Constitution. And I was part of the people also who went out to advocate for what we thought we put into that Constitution. And when the final draft came out, it was completely different from what Gambians want in that Constitution. And again, the same Constitution was taken, and I think over 120 something clauses have been tampered with and changed, just to make sure that it meets the needs of an individual to be able to run the country the way he wants to run it. And the 1997 Constitution have vested all powers in the hands of the president. And this is why, when we came 2016, most of the campaign tools for the coalition was based on this Constitution, that all the powers are in the hands of the president. All the powers are in the hands of the executive. And because of that, when we come into power, we will make sure that this Constitution will be changed to meet the needs of Gambians. And again, as you mentioned, the 1997 Constitution, Gambians didn't have the opportunity, as we have today, to take part vigorously, and including the diaspora, to take part and put their participation and opinions into this. So I think for me, it is a great failure on the side of the people who represent us to take this 2020 Constitution. One thing that we all have to understand, a Constitution will never meet the needs of every individual. There are mostly some things in the 2020 Constitution. There are some clauses that I do not like at all. But I do not look at my personal interest. What is key is the interest of Gambians and the majority of the people on the things that they feel is the best way forward for Gambia to move to the next stage. So if that thing has been done, as I said, given the great opportunity to participate, into this Constitution, personal sentiments and individual interests shouldn't have subsidized at the National Assembly for them to reject the opinions and what the Gambians obviously wanted. The question you asked, the way forward. The way forward for me would have been the president to come out and speak to the people of the country and say, I am really sorry that the Constitution that you spend your time and the resources of our country was not passed, and I'm calling on everybody to unite, and we can go back to the drawing board and see what we can do, whether we can table a new bill to see that whether this Constitution will allow it to go. But nonetheless, we have to understand one thing. All the people who vote no for that Constitution have all point on a clause or an area or a section that they feel was not right. This is why they are voting against it. And if you want to take the opinion of all those 21 people, and then including the people who vote for yes, have made observations, have looked at certain areas. So National Assembly alone will change almost 100 or more of that Constitution. And is that fair to the governments? Absolutely no. As I said, the Constitution doesn't represent your wish as an individual alone to obviously be captured in every area you feel the way it should be. You have to allow some of them to be in the way you want it to be, and allow us to be in the interest of other people and allow others to be in the interest of other people, and we all come to a consensus. And with this 2020 constitution, there was more of a personal sentiment than looking at interest of national interest. And this is why this concept from the onset, we have seen people coming out and saying, make sure you consider the pasla. Make sure you consider the pasla. I think that was even wrong when obviously CRC was working on this constitution. They give us first round, they give us second round, and they give us the final chance. What we all know, there are certain things in there that people are saying shouldn't be part of the constitution. But again, the CRC, knowing the people responsible, they make sure that they capture the voices of Gambians on important aspects of things that people were questioning. And if obviously there's a clause that says MUSA obviously if he's in England, he's a dual citizen, cannot vote in there. And Gambian said, yes, we know, but he's a Gambian. He's allowed. He can still come here and participate and to be voted in. And then what the CRC, I know the process they told me they were using, they'll put all that into one bank because they know in every constitution there are key elements that the nationals will be interested in, that the Gambians will be interested in. Any constitution that has been written in the whole world, it's not that every single part is an interest to that particular country. There are some key areas that they factor in. And the CRC or the drafters will look at the opinions on those particular areas and see what the majority says. All the statistics are there. CRC have opened the door for anybody to go and question why they come to certain decisions. And the chairman, I know we all know, is a very straightforward person. And he understands this constitution and what has been written in it and the opinion of the people. But if that's not the case, the 1997 constitution, where we were all saying all the powers belongs to the president, it's the same thing that is going to govern us. I think it is completely wrong and it is a failure. So on that case, the way forward should be the president to go back onto the round table with his executive and see what they can do with the opposition leaders and the National Assembly members to see what is the best way forward to bring back this 2020 constitution, if there could be any opportunity or possibility for it to be reintroduced, for them to vote onto it. Because as I said, there could be a compromise. Yes. And it's unfortunate that obviously when the minister went to the House, I was extremely disappointed with the way he responded to some of these questions. When they were raising these issues at the National Assembly, he got a pen and a paper and he was jotting down important issues and areas of questions that the National Assembly were raising. I expected him to spend, that's why he's got a lot of people working with him. They should have put something together that is vibrant, that is very explanatory, and if possible, request to the clerk and the speaker that he wants to invite the chairman of CRC to work along with him to make sure he can clear certain doubts. To be a minister doesn't make you an expert into the constitution. Yeah, right. It doesn't make you to obviously give answers that will obviously satisfy the people who have asked certain spectacle questions.
Well, thank you very much, Mose. That was a good insight. Now, let's come back to you, Esa. There was a mission. There was an agenda. There was a project way back in 2016 that gave birth to what we call the coalition government, where different political parties, irrespective of their political ideology, irrespective of their national interest or whatever happened, the history is long and it's broad. Like I said, lives were lost, people were killed, some were maimed, some were disappeared. So there are a lot of things that happened from 1994 to 2016 before the presidential election. You and I and so many other people that are in the diaspora, we were looking for a change. Esa, has that change arrived? If yes, what is your take? If no, what do you think technically went wrong that we are all in this big mess?
Yeah, thank you once again. The answer to that is a simple, absolutely no. But before I go into this, I just want to add a few things to what the gentleman just said.
Right.
You see, me personally, I don't feel disappointed with the NAMs that say no. I don't feel disappointed with the Minister of Justice. The simple fact that the Minister of Justice, his appointment, in fact, as far as I'm concerned, is wrong. All right, you don't have a minister of a just that's supposed to serve the just interest of a country appointed by a president. Of course, whatever the minister will do everything possible to put forward the agenda of the president. And we all know from the onset of this time limit, when it come in existence, the president is not in support of it. The first thing we had, the parliament make a statement saying that the constitution is taking away the right of the president. I'll come to that a little bit.
Right.
Again, to the parliament, I don't feel disappointed with them saying no, but what I feel disappointed is saying no without not understanding why they are even saying no. You see, if you ask most National Assembly members, they will tell you Section 100 of the 1997 Constitution has, given us the power, the National Assembly members, the power not to pass any bill that will have retroactive effect. That is to say, okay, Tyler, you killed somebody yesterday, but there was nobody to convict somebody for murder at the time that you were killing that person. So today, if we make a law, we are not going to punish Tyler. All right, that and the context in which the draft constitution is to be put in place are completely two different things. That they are relying on is in fact not in favor of them. The law they are relying on is saying you should not pass a law that is taking away somebody's vested and acquired right. And I think for me, if I'm in their shoes, the first question I'm going to ask myself, what is a vested right and what are acquired right? Is the president, his term limit in power, the right that you're talking about, is it acquired or is it vested? If it is vested, can the state or the people that are bringing about that law, can they take it away? If it is acquired, again, the same question, the people that are bringing about that law, can they take it away? So we all understand that the right that they are actually claiming on is a right that is given to the president by the Gambian people. So we will classify the right to be vested. I'm going to just give a little bit of a summary of what is vested and what is acquired. So we say vested rights are rights that are given to an individual, in an ongoing process. For example, I'm not born in the United States, but if I have passed through the legal test processes, at some point I can acquire to be a citizen in the United States. I can be a legal status individual in the United States, but I cannot vote. And I know at some point in the process, I may be eligible to vote. Now, I'm not born here and I come to the United States. At some point, if I pass the legal test, I may be given the right to vote. Can the United States government take away that right from me at some point? Of course, yes. If I involve myself in certain criminal practices, I go to jail, they can revoke the citizenship from me. There are conditions laid down. But if I'm born in the United States here, and the United States law states that anybody who is born in the United States, you automatically become a citizen. From the day that I am born up to the day that I die, I will remain as a United States citizen and I will always have the right to vote, and nobody can take away that right from me.
Right.
So the right that Adama Barrow has today is not an acquired right. It is a vested right given to him by the Gambian people. So if the Gambian people feel that they can take away from him, they can take the right away from him, they can. And even in this case, Gambians are not taking away his right from him. The 1997 Constitution is not, there is no law in the 1997 from page 1 to page 100 or from the first page to the last page that is given the Adam Barrow and his camp the legal status to say they will challenge the draft constitution based on the term limit issue. Now, what they are relying on and what the law says is completely different. The law says you cannot pass any law that has retroactive effect. For example, like the case that I give, if
Right.
Tyler kills somebody, for instance, or Tyler steals somebody's money, 25th of February, and that is going to be stealing or theft, for instance. But 25th of February, there was no law that talks about theft. And after 25th of February, the National Assembly member go to Parliament and they pass a bill and say, if anyone takes somebody's money, it is going to be classified to be theft. Now, the National Assembly or the law that we have now is saying that, no, you cannot do that. But the process that we have now is completely different. If they pass this bill, it is not going to Adam Barrow straight away for him to assent. It is going back to the Gambian people, and the Gambian people are going to vote either yes or no to approve it, unlike any other bill.
Right.
Now, the bill that this constitution is talking about is when they are making simple laws, for instance, election laws, for instance, law to to ban FGM, for instance. When Parliament ban FGM in the Gambia, or when Yajam make that ban, it doesn't go back to the people. Gambians don't vote. It just became an automatic law. The issue of age limit. When the new government came into power, it was 60. They extended. It doesn't go back to the Gambian people. Gambians don't vote either yes or no. It automatically become a law. Now, that is what Section 100 is talking about. If you are making a simple bill that will go to the Parliament and the Parliament are going to assent on it, now the 1997 Constitution, Section 108 is telling you that that law cannot have retroactive effect. It does not apply in passing constitutions, because constitutions are the voices of the Gambian people, are the voices of that person in that remote village that will say, look, I want Adam Barrow to be there for 10 years or 15 years or 25 years. If it passed this stage, it is not going to State House for Adam Barrow to assent on it. It is going back to the Gambian people, and the Gambian people will either decide whether it is going to be a yes or no. So this Section 100 is not applicable here. And that is what I have an issue with. If you speak with National Assembly members, they will tell you, okay, 1997 Constitution told us that you cannot pass any law that has a retroactive effect of taking somebody's vested and acquired rights. But that is not the case here. There is no vested right that we are
In
arguing.
fact, what rights
There
are
is no.
there? What rights are there acquired that I think from our point of view, what we are looking at, we know the Constitution cannot cater for all of us. It's a man-made a document, we will call it, and is subjected to some changes, and that word comes into play, amendment, right? It might not fit the entire needs of the country, but there are some basic clauses, there are some basic things that are in that law. Let's say, for example, the media bill, freedom of expression, and the right to express your view with no fear, the right to actually say what you feel about certain things that the day-to-day governance or the day-to-day running of your country is about. You are free to talk about it. So, saying what we are going to look at, what we are trying to draw at now, here is the 1997 Constitution that I think Gambians need to be further educated on, be sensitized on what really are the bad laws that are hidden under this 1997 Constitution. So I will just go back to Musa. Musa, can you hear me? Mos, can you hear me? Okay, I think Moses lost somewhere. Esa, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay. I'm here.
I think Moses lost, but if will help us bring him back. Esa.
Yes.
Now let's look at these things from this other point of view. I think there was a problem somewhere. Oh, right. Moses here. Moses, can you hear me? Oh, okay. So let's go back to you again, Esa. We have seen there were a lot of controversies from way back in 2016, from what is constitutional and what is not constitutional. Gentleman agreement and the Constitution 5 years and all this. Esa, what is your take if you will put this thing in perspective? I think this is the first time we have a coalition government that voted out a tyranny, a dictatorship. Yeah. We will learn a lot from this. This is the first time that you and I start believing in the voting system in the Gambia. Mos, can you hear us?
Yeah, I just came back now because obviously I've lost. Yeah, yeah, but I'm
Yes,
back on.
yes.
I can
So
hear you now. Yeah.
yeah. So we now shifting to this angle now that we all know there was a mission. We all know there was a program. There was an agenda. Come 2016, rest in peace to all those who laid their life. You know, family men, women that went through torture, you know, youths that were killed and detained, disappeared. I just felt it if it was my family. Yes, I know I'm a victim because some of my family members were arrested, were detained, were, you know, a lot of things happened to them. I personally was suspended for participating in a family member's court hearing. So now here we are, we call a new Gambia, a new dispensation. Do we or are we qualified to call this a new Gambia? Yes, there could be some chances to call it a new Gambia. But was this the desired goal, Musa, way back in 2016, when you and I thought we'll have a new birth, when you and I thought we're going to have a new country where nobody is above each other, no more censorship, no more disappearance. Yes, there are no disappearance, but there is lack of continuity in the system. Like, you are hired today, you are fired today. What is your take? Do you think we really get to the desired destination way back in 2016 when we were thinking for a better Gambia that will be inclusive for all?
Thank you again, Mr. Job. I think this is a very, very important question. I would say no. The new Gambia is just like a brewing. You know, like certain things have changed, and obviously certain things are still the same. And as you mentioned, that was not our desired goal. We know changes are not very, very easy if you come from a dictatorship of
Right.
22 years. We know a lot of things have been in flaws, and obviously, Gambians were not happy about them.
Right.
But what we expected when 2016 came, and as you said, all of us put our time, resources, energy to make sure that we end the dictatorship in our country. And when we said that, at the time we were all with the hope that we're going to have a proper reform, that will be in line with the 21st century, and that will be in line with the aspirations and the wishes of Gambians. But this was not exactly what we've seen today happening in our country. We all know, the present executive consists of the same people that have vandalized our country, the same people that have obviously supported systems that were not in the best interest of Gambians, the same people that are obviously advising the president on certain things, key decisions for our country. So obviously that statement of New Gambia is obviously something that we've not attained at present and up to now. So what we need to do as Gambians, I think this is a clear manifestation to us to understand that we have to be very, very careful in how we elect our leaders and in how we elect our people to represent us. Because the new Gambia we all yearn for, obviously, is not what everybody, a layman on the street, have seen in Gambia. It's just like an old wine in the old bottle. It is the same people who have been revived and been given key positions to man in our country. The institutions are not functioning for the past 54 years. And as I said always, for Gambia to have what they're looking for, we need individual changes. It has to be Hadamadu Okul to move away from these institutions. If not, the system will always be the same. It is going to be us, the electorate, the elites who are in those villages, in those towns and cities, who will put our votes together and give it to these individuals to obviously help them to bring that change. And the change we are asking them to bring in is not the change they are bringing for us, but instead leaving the same people to use the same old system to manipulate our system to go forward. So
Thank you very
presently,
much.
the 2016 visions have already been put into the trash for Gambians, and Gambians are really disappointed.
Do you think that started now, or it has? Do you think that started now?
No, no. What
Maybe
happened? Yeah, the
from the
failure
coalition
started from
settlement,
the. Yes, the
because
failure started.
mhm,
Yeah, go on. Yeah, the failure
mhm.
obviously started from the formation of that collusion when they were all obviously thinking about those positions and the money they've spent in their life for the past 22 years.
Do you
And then when
mean
they came
the
there,
starting was a failure?
the starting was a failure, a
But
complete failure.
okay, a failure that
Yes,
brought in results, positive results, or
a
a
failure,
failure?
no, a failure bringing a negative results.
But JAMMEH is no more. Will that not be considered a positive result?
No, JAMMEH, no. The mission was JAMMEH was no more, and the expectation was when the president comes in, because JAMMEH's existence is nothing new to anybody in that Gambia. And I think anybody at our naming ceremonies, at our parties, anywhere we go, those days, Gambians, anywhere they go, they'll be talking about the Gambia. So the present president cannot tell me he was never having conversations with people talking about institutional failures, talking about
Right.
individuals, talking about obviously some of the laws in our constitution, talking about how Gambians are betrayed, talking about obviously how institutions are failing. These conversations were happening everywhere, even in Narcos, it was happening there. Our great
Okay.
grandparents were talking about this, and when they come together to have conversations, they were talking about this. So it is
Okay.
totally new to anybody to run Gambia with the concept that you do not understand what happened for the past 22 years, that you shouldn't
Right.
be in the system.
Thank you very much. A gentleman just joined us. I'm sorry, Mr. Dabo, that we keep you suspended there. And I know people will be wondering, who is this guy? Where is he coming from? Basically, the program was meant to be in two segments, in twofold. Like one, we'll have a political discussion, and the one he's into business. He's into like modeling. He's into fashioning. He's into music, and you also have a take on. So what Musa is saying or Ensa is saying is so instrumental for your business and your community, especially for them to live in a viable economic situation. Because we are all political animal in one way or the other. Because if the politicians, like Musa just rightly said, they don't put necessary framework, the necessary tools and policies that see every player as an important person, please close your business and go home, because the politicians have to make that thing happen through in consultation with our people. So briefly, welcome. I know you are not a political, you're not looking at things from political point of view, but we'll create another platform where we'll talk about your relationship with ST, your relationship with Gambian businesses, how you started everything and where you are today. So just quickly tell us who this Mr. Dabo is.
Thank you, my mentor, my instructor, Dr. Joe, for the invitation. Thank you for the rest of the panels. I salute you all. To be honest, I get a lot of experience, getting a lot of ideas from these two people. Though my knowledge is not that too far in constitution drive and this politics stuff like that. There's like, I am Ali Dabo, commonly known as Ali Wali. I'm a model coordinator, event producer, and of course an artist management. So my work is to produce events and to promote artist platform to work with artists, and most of the important as a model coordinator. I work with different platforms in the fashion industries like Bissau Fashion Week, Dakar Fashion Week, and likewise in the Gambian Fashion Week. So thank you, Tala, to
Thank
be
you
on
very much.
the board.
I just want people to know who you are, because we kept you suspended there. But what we are going to do is
Thank
we'll
you.
create
Exactly,
another
yes.
platform purposely for you and I, so we can talk about fashion industry, modeling,
Definitely,
music and all that.
definitely.
So thank you very much. I would love to have you again. I will
Okay.
talk to you shortly after the program. Okay. Thank you so much. I apologize again. The
Okay,
program
no
was,
problem. Thank you.
it's getting interesting, and we have big wins like Esa Kinte and Mr. Honorable Musa JAMMEH. These are top-notch, Gambians when it comes to politics and political discussion. Coming back to you, Elsa, I just asked Mr. Jammeh a question. If we are to make any survey, if we are to make any progress, a baseline survey as to where the coalition started and where we are, from 1 to 10, the discussion is yours. Tell us where you think this we could learn from, and where we are right now is a mess. Because rest in peace to all those people who died. I know in their respective graves, they are like, this is not what we fought for. They're like, this is not the Gambia that I laid my life for. We all knew the tyranny was in the Gambia. The gun was there. The people were there to arrest you. But they chose to be on the street. And it was not deliberate. It was not ignorant. They knew, but someone has to sacrifice. That give us the new breathing environment for you, me, and now everybody can talk on Facebook. I remember a few years ago, you write, Musa, you can tell. If you write a posting on Facebook about government in the Gambia, hey, Musa, Hakido today, now that fear is gone, even though we have not get where we are looking for. Let's come back to you, Esa. Give us your perspective, your critical lens of where the failure is. And this we could avert next time when it comes.
Well, Tala, thank you once again. In terms of rating, I am going to give 10 over 10. All right. I know somebody will be
that's
asking
a very high
me
score.
why.
10 over 10.
Why? That's yeah. I will give you 10 over 10, and my reasonings will come after.
Okay.
I will a little bit differ with my co-panelist. Now, if you look at the 2016 elections, okay, what every Gambian's objective was to take Yaya Jammeh out.
Right.
The objective of every Gambian who went and stand under that scourging sun to vote, your objective was, I'm tired of Jammeh. I don't want this guy to be killing my uncle, firing my father, doing all these kind of things. That was the objective of every person who voted. If you want to be honest to ourselves, Gambians were not interested in the presidential candidate, what you're going to bring in at that time. Gambians were not focusing in whether Adam Barrow is going to bring in a new constitution, whether Adam Barrow was going to bring a strong institutions for us. Gambians were mainly and focusedly, looking at the bigger picture, which was for Jammeh to go. And we achieved that. So kudos to all of us. We achieved that. Now, even if I don't want to mention, with all due respect to, one of the leading political parties in the Gambia, where in fact Adam Barrow was born. Now, these people know Adam Barrow. They know what he was capable of. They know his level of intellect. And they perhaps may have foreseen what is happening today. But their focus was not on that at the time. Their focus was for for Yaya Jammeh to be out so that we can, do whatever we want to do. So I think we achieved that now.
Right.
The next phase should be, what can we do? And that is what we're doing now. What can we do to make sure we have strong institutions that we are yearning for, to make sure we strengthen our democracy, and to make sure, we don't have people, disappearing every single day. So in terms of rating, as far as I'm concerned, I will give you 10 over 10. Now, my score will change if our focus was centered on, okay, our institutions are bad, the judiciary has been interfered on. We want to vote so that we can have a president who will interfere who will strengthen the judicial sector, who will strengthen other sectors of governance, and make sure every single Gambian living in and outside of the Gambia can feel pride in calling yourself a Gambian. But that was really not our focus at the time. Right. To be quite honest to ourselves, at the time that we were going to vote, we were all focusing on having Jammeh out of the game.
I'm sorry for cutting you. I think, like we said, at that time, we were all like, oh my God, this man needs to go. He needs to go. When Jammeh went or left the country, we knew a lot of things happened. But now that I think it's now 3 years or almost 4 years now, I think the president should learn on his job. The president, it's 3 years, 4 years. The president should be able to say, hey, Gambians, This is where we started. I made a mistake in the first 3, 6 months. 1 year is understandable. I'm coming back. Hey, you know what? I'm not a politician. With due respect, like he said, at that time also, you don't see anybody in the front line because Jammeh's ultimate aim was to silence the biggest party, UDP, and he succeeded by kidnapping them through the laws that he has, and he sent them to jail. Whether the court were competent enough to handle the case, where they were bogus charges and all that, he succeeded. Jammeh succeeded in doing that, and he sent them to jail. But then what happens? The electorate feel that now the power belongs to us. Dabo went to jail, came saying, and so many other people were, at that time, in fact, there was no executive member at UDP that could say, well, from a legal point of view, from qualification, from all these things, we were like, hey, let's call it a spade, like we said. Without UDP's participation in the coalition, Jammeh might still be there. Yes, I'm not having the statistics to say UDP is the biggest party to say in terms of. We just come in there, but at that time, UDP was very critical. They were very crucial in that move. And the coalition leaders came together. Adama came in and he becomes the flag bearer of the coalition, resigned from his political party. Now he's under this. But guess what happened later in the day? Adama started losing sight of how it even started. And now here we are. We're all victims of how Adama played his games. So let's see things from this angle now. We knew there's a problem, Mr. Musa. What can be done now better for the good of Gambia and for the good of my nephew, your nephew, in Bakau Faro Kono, Sukuta Nako Kono, in Badibu Tandakoto? What can be done from this angle? What can we learn from the failures of the coalition government that ushered us into it? Yes, to some people, they say, there go, we have peace. Munaketa, Cairo Bekeri, na Molkila Kumol Fole, Mole Freedom Hospital Kaifan Express. But in terms of development, in terms of system change, in terms of policy execution, where are we and what can be done for the betterment of this country?
Yeah, Abaraka Baka, Mr. Jobe, I think I'll come on the Manika segment since that's what we said and time has already gone.
Right.
Yeah, very important question on Yinin Kajang. And obviously, I will also differ from my co-panelist. Gambia and Tamito stage in Kafoko, we were not thinking of the change at the time. Yes, I think we've gone past that, for the past 2 years, or 3 years ago. Because yes, we all agree at the time, and this is why when Adam Barrow came in, Gambia will unanimously agree on a time deal. Na time deal, prung ay makoi I cool dole fadini I now cool dole na fena.
Right.
Wolukono. One of these constitutional reform set. The commission will set. Yalong obviously the reforms them all produced. Yalong kona expect ko by today. Adam Barula vision, nala mission, nala legacy akamunfo will have been based on that. The freedom government of Musa, we fought for it. Adam Barrow didn't give it to us.
No.
And Adam Barrow for 4 years, Gambia also mune follow ko ninom fente muyalon ko I will produced muyalon ko say, you know what? Honestly, the guy have done us a good. Let's go back and reflect for 4 good years. Now man can need Torah upon need Torah proposals akamul na fena.
Okay, but Jani Nitoro Kananu, come let's say for example, Tonyalo Bebe Kampa Kama, but being cool starter, Adama was UDP Adama, Kafaya, Adama is our Adama, Barrow is our Barrow. What really went wrong now that things change? Kelo Sembo Wata.
Mun tata wrong, Adam Barrow, yes, he came for time. Adam was about a UDP. He was an executive member. You understand? And when the applications were out, UDP is a very democratic party. Most apply. I was the fourth from the diaspora, which obviously people are not putting that into context. I contacted the people responsible in interest, and I was told, maybe to qualify due to the constitution and in time on in Nantamunkala Bankoka. So Amanka UDP most of the Mudi Alonko, they were ready to obviously put their life on the line because we did it and we've been doing it. For changes will happen. So Adamo, out of the three people Muli name put together, he was lucky to come out. Kujamal for Adam to be selected. We don't need to go into those integrity today because Wolman history book on the corner. And when that happened, Adam obviously near UDP values understand. And then UDP operational model. Ite kelo no mo jawoti muya ko banku dingo torale because UDP dingo muya UDP concept na ideology understand what about dingo toral because we are the principles of United Democratic Party is democracy, fairness, equality, and equal treatment for each and everyone, and in the respect for the law of our country, which is our constitution. So, I'm a kabira about on Kono. From the onset, Atata after the State House of Kono, a philosophy, a concept, an ideology change. So, you know what? Yara for Nimba Diar in Tenate Diala JJ, instead of seeing the country, Muli Alonko will put into the foil. So from there, I had a vision, now a mission will change. That government was a coalition government. Among the UDP government, on the UDP Kajamal, experts, philosophers, they were ready to go and help the country to move forward. UDP Masakundat. I know up to 3-4 people. Allow you don't tell institutional corner. They will have done a lot of change because almost would have been called Bututola.
Right. Okay. Secondly, coming more Botajana, but the American coalition government, the party that enjoys most from all parties, in terms of positions, in terms of opportunities, ambassadorial jobs, you name them. Don't you think UDP take the good share of the cake than the rest of the other political parties? Yes.
No, UDP should. Molka feel kabuna understand. We have the numbers.
Taking the bigger cake.
Number UDP the number yalo kolko the number la siata. Nko yes yes changes on keta. In any country there is a force muli alonko they get the chunk of the share to participate in that change to happen anywhere in the world.
Right.
And when it comes to selection, most of the time that majority would have the number within the system because what is due to certain criteria you put on the floor that we expect Adam to roll all over the country and with all his coalition partners. But the more come for this one, it's only 3 key ministerial positions in there. After that, the others were not as our people are mentioning it.
But no, you have ambassadors, like you have ambassadors, you have protocol officers.
No, ambassador, no.
UDP. And the fact that they become a UDP member and the Barrow is their Barrow and the Secretary General is there at the helm of affairs, they also benefited from being appointed.
No. People are looking at few individual names. Okay. All the people in that tactical coalition government,
we'll come into that. Can I chip in a little bit, Tara?
Okay, yes.
I just do want to say this. In Gambia, what we are facing in the Gambia, and we will continue to face that if we do not take ownership and take responsibilities of things that we fall short of. Okay, right. It is not bad to accept failure. It's not wrong to say that I failed in this. In fact, that is a sign of leadership. If you admit, most of these great leaders you see in this world, what makes them great is because they have taken responsibilities of their failures and they forge ahead. All right. So, handing out the ending of me, it will be more can do it. But you don't say that. But take responsibility. It's the outcast of the outcast of the family does not make that outcast not to belong to the family. So that is the case we're facing in the Gambia. Okay.
Right.
We are faced in a situation where a wrong person is being brought to us. All right.
Yep.
The wrong person has been brought to us, and it might not be their mistake. It might not be a deliberate mistake. It might not be something that they know that Adam Barrow is going to do this, so we are going to, give it away. Whatever it comes, we don't care. At that time, they were hoping that Adam Barrow is going to be the best person, is going to serve in the interest of the Gambian. But if it becomes a failure to them, accept it. Accept that, yes, UDP or whatever party it is our failure, and we are going to learn from it. But if we continue to cast blame and we continue to run away from his mistakes, we are going to find ourselves in the same mistake come next elections. Because there is no statistics in the Gambia that I'm yet to see anyway to say that where Adam Barrow was born is the biggest political party in the Gambia. I'm yet to see any statistics as of such.
The statistics are there. Yeah.
I think we are all on the same boat.
Let me land.
It's bit okay. Come in.
Let me land. If you look at it from let's say when Adam Barrow first came into power, the majority of the people that Adam Barrow was working for are the people that he come from the same party with.
True.
Is it because they are the only people that are qualified? Is it because they are the majority people? Is it because the number of supporters that UDP has is bigger than the number of supporters that APRC has? It's bigger than the number of supporters that combined APRC, DOI, GMC, and all these things has? Is it because of all those things? Absolutely not. Well, if anyone has any evidence to refer me to read, I will of course change my stand with this. But I think Adam Barrow being Adam Barrow has done his part. Is his part correct or is his part right? Absolutely not. His part was when he was into power, the key positions in the Gambian government, he put in his family members there. Along the line, things did not go well with his family members. Family members should take blame of it, accept the responsibility of it, and then say next time it's not going to happen again. But if you want to say, okay, we're all going to stand aside and we are not going to associate ourselves with a failure, then there's a question mark on your end. If you become, I know after this show I'll receive a lot of attacks, but this is my honest take.
But that's fine.
If you become,
if you become attack, but if you become a different view with you in regards to that.
If you
I might not see it as an attack, but I would say your view is your entitlement. But you cannot censor someone's also view with regards to your stand on that particular topic of discussion, which is democratic.
So what I was going to say, if you become in the center, or let's say you are in Adam Barrow's position today, a failure come, are you going to side away from responsibilities? Are you going to pinpoint one individual? Take collective responsibility. And I think the way forward from now on, and the best way forward that I would recommend for any political party in the Gambia, or for any member of UDP, is to take the finger, point it at themselves, and then say, okay, we made this mistake, but this mistake was not a deliberate mistake. It was a genuine mistake. And moving forward, we are going to learn from our mistake. I think that should be the discussion. But the discussion on the other way around shouldn't be.
I'm not quoting you again. The discussions here, like the coalition members, they have to sit down and say, hey, there was no point in time. There are a lot of issues that happen. But the coalition also members could say, we failed Gambians because we went out to the Gambian people and tell them, hey, I'll kate fight me. Nale kate fight me. Nim banko lual mimbe keri mini alunoko alla nyantota aya tinyang mbol bondilan. But in the long run, coalition tatala disintegrated. Woman tratakan, the banko was stagnant, nothing was moving. Until now, we are clocking to 4 years. You cannot take Halifa Saleh part of the equation. He's part of the problem. You cannot take OJ part out of the problem. All the coalition members, they fail woefully. And they, like you said, they also have to be man enough to say, hey, Tonyalong, there was a problem. And some of the problem, yes, we were directly responsible. No, but if we start saying, Nimman can tell a problem or Karela problem or at the end of the day, we fail the Musumim Benako Kono Badibu, Musumim Benako Kono Sokota. Because what we can understand where we are talking from. But just coming back to you, Ensa, again. Now there is a problem right there on the highway. what do you think is the way forward? We can just give you 3-4 minutes, and Honorable Musa Jammeh 2-3 minutes. We just see, because at the end of the day, we all have the Gambia as a lens, the perspective. Because where you live, Honorable Musa, where Esa live in the United States, where I live here in Sukuta, is completely different, because Sukuta is becoming a republic now. Musa, we are trying to
so, no, in fact, I'm a secretarian, because that's where I'll be living anyway.
Yeah. So, Musa, in 3 minutes, iti America, scientific Gambia nyanta muna lonna, nyanta muna kela no, for the Gambia that we all wish to see, young people like Esa to go back, young people like Mr. Musa, so many Gambians, professors and technicians all over the world. Yeah, hey, I'm putting my American passport, I'm putting my British passport in packing to go back home. Is it possible? If yes,
it is possible. And one answer is to vote in your Honorable Dabo to represent Gambians.
Okay.
The reason that can only be UDP is the government, is the party. I follow all the manifestos of some of these. Some of them even don't have a proper manifesto.
Right.
And the objectives of how they wanted to run their parties. The United Democratic Party, I understand their manifesto, and I understand the concept and the ideology of how they wanted to run the country when they come into power. And at the same time, I understand the leader. Because what Gambians feel to come to understand, Hussein Dabo have grasped so many experience as a human being from the First Republic up to today's Republic Mbabunkono. And he served the country for 2 years as a foreign minister, at the same time, vice president. What kind of experience are you going to call in a person with that caliber who you look at him and say, go at Atabanko Baralano? So,
okay.
If Gambians, what we are calling for, you ask me what can we do to change?
Right.
Because there's only one way, is to vote, and vote in for a person who understands the core principles and the sufferings of Gambians and have a vision. That vision, which we all know, we will all be participatory. UDP is a participatory party. This is the leader, I can tell you, Esha, but you want to call him and speak to him and tell him, I think this is how we should be running. He will take your points very, very seriously and take it to the executive and discuss. So this is the what kind of leader we need, who will listen to every angle, every part, everybody, to come in and talk to him and tell him, hey, so what you said, the way forward, I'm calling on Gambians for the opportunity, the United Democratic Party under the leadership of Hussein Dabo. And I can tell them, if a reforms Munjala Banko Kang is exactly that the UDP will produce, because in manifesto, and we are advocating for it. And we will make sure ni marken telba muru na fe hey na yina for mole alna muru na manifesto e mum fo ani mu na mum fo mol pour kana banko tamande. So we mbafal Gambia be ko the way forward for Gambia right now is to obviously to join the Democratic Party, the Banko Dina Namare.
Okay. Just one more question, Musa, before you go. What is there that you could consider something tangible that the person you qualify as the most experienced person to run the Gambia to get us to the desired destination? He was a foreign affairs minister. He becomes the number 2 in the Gambia as a vice president. Can you tell us some of the major things that people like me might not know? What do you think was tangible that he was able to achieve in his time as a foreign affairs minister and also as the vice president of the Republic of the Gambia? Maybe some might not know. It's important since you qualify him as one of the most qualified person to become the president of the Gambia come 2021.
Thank you. Wonia de Dalilo Muyatina Nafo, when he was a Kabira Nata about Masakunda Safkam. His first objective and priority was to connect the Gambia back with the international world. Yalo Molka Felka Buna on the we are in a global village, Dunyamu global village. Global village in a sense Nimmomo isolated the 22 years of our former government. Mansakunda Jamaye blocked completely. And the wealth that we all belong to as a world, stopped from reaching the shore of Gambia. And when Honorable Hussein Dabo came, remember the guy who has made a name for being one of the strongest fighters of a dictatorial regime. So already I named Mekle in the international scene. So when he came, the first priority for Hussein is to make sure Gambia rightful places will join in the places where we need to be. And he has done that. We've all seen it. I reconnect back into so many places, the key one, which is the Commonwealth. Because obviously the funds that were coming through the...
Will you single-handedly give that credit to only him or to the coalition government at the time?
No, you said Hussein because he had the department. No, Chala, Mr. Job, Nimoy department or head. Obviously the credit goes to the whole team because Hussein as an individual cannot do it. You could question. If your question was collusion or Muna achieve working with Hussein Dabo, I will put the collusion. You ask me an individual, is the best.
Giving, a collective results, a collective achievement.
I answer question. Yes, I answer question as you ask me. If you ask me collectively,
I said
what you asked me was
tangible. What is there tangible? Which I said, which is true. You cannot cite out his name as far as fighting a tyranny. He lost his wealth. He lost his energy. Everything that fighting a tyranny is not easy. A dictator is not easy. It goes with a lot of consequences. You can lose your life. Families disband you. You don't even have nothing again because listen, people don't want to associate with a tyranny, a dictator, especially at the time in the Gambia, which was very, very, you cannot take them like my uncle, Yusuf Acham, up to date. He don't have the wealth, but he has the people. He has been fighting for people at no cost. And up to date, that's where he is. So I understand where we are heading to. Esa, you've been quiet for a little while. Mr. Musa has just put some points there. Esa, if you were to be given the chance today to say what is best for the Gambia, what would you take?
Yeah, just shortly before I say this, I do want to mention that Lawyer Dawa is one of the landed scholars in the Gambia. He's a guy that I have great respect for, and I read a lot about him. I attended his court sessions. As far as our constitutional law is concerned, he's an expert in it, and I do understand that he did his thesis on constitutional law of the Gambia, so he has a very good understanding of it.
Oh yeah.
But I do want to mention this. Malam for Musa Kamole. Hani Musa for if Musa himself was the foreign minister of the Gambia at the time, he would do the same thing that Dabo had done, connecting us back to the United Nations.
But I think primarily that's supposed to be his role.
So that is not something extraordinary. I was expecting something out of the loop. So I think our problem in the Gambia is my way or no other way. So ndala silo wala mola silenteng.
Yeah.
If you come from United Democratic Party, you say my party is the best. Why? Because we have the best agenda, we have the best policy, we have this. But what qualifies you to say we have the best policy? Do you read the policy of DOI? Do you read the policy of CA? Do you read the policy of APRC?
The policy of DOI is only 8 pages. I've seen it before. Unless they improve on it. The policy is one person, and that is Alpha Salah. He says what he feels. Go online and check. You know what? Just to qualify these things, it's only now when some of them start to be serious. The only serious party that put their money, party manifesto and policies online was United Democratic Party. I can tell you 3 years ago, you Google it online before JAMMEH goes, it was only UDP's party manifesto you can see online.
So
I know people like you, let them disqualify that.
So coming near most Gambians, almost most political supporters, if you do ask them, my party's political agenda is the best because of X, Y, Z. But what qualifies for something to be best, there has to be comparisons. So you have to compare one to another to three, then you can come to a common conclusion. If I ask you what is your policy on women, perhaps you may not be able to tell me. If I
of course I can tell you. I can tell you. You're talking to listen. My policy on women is to obviously to empower the women and obviously allow them the opportunity to excel. And in that empowerment, we're going to obviously link that to agriculture because we know where our core supporters are and some of their problems that they are calling out for. You know, I cannot be word to word a policy, but there's no policy. No, listen, there's no policy you ask me about United Democrats. I will not give you a word by word, but I know how manifest. I'm a politician. Come on, I cannot just come here and talk when I'm not prepared to give you something on our party.
Okay, allowing women to excel. Of course, other political parties, the main objective is to allow them to excel. So what I want to see from a non-political lens is how are you going to do that? How would you allow that common woman in the street selling mango potato? How are you going to allow that person to excel? It is not enough to tell me allowing them to excel. How are you going to do it? I want to know how you're going to do it. I want to know where you will get that money from. I want to know
if it is a question, I can give you the answer. I've got the answer for that because obviously I know our policy on that. And this is a key. This is a key area for us as a party.
Okay, now I think
I'm not attacking nobody.
It's getting
specific.
interesting now. Yes, I'm coming.
I'm not.
No. I'm enjoying this. It's all right because these are the challenges. If we want to represent a party, we should understand what we stand for. I'm happy. Bring any question with regards to the United Democratic Party. I will give you the answers.
So now, Musa, do you think there is a democratic situation in your party? Do you also go forward with term limits? Like, to me, all the political parties in the Gambia, they don't respect term limits. We have seen one person or two person at the helm of affairs for centuries. Are we on foot? Are we on the right path as far as preaching democracy, rule of law, human rights, and all that, especially on the principles of democracy? Do we encourage term limits? Do we have to get a flag bearer like PDOIS, UDP, NRP? The same name, the same head has been there forever. Is that right?
Good question. What you are UDP every year when we are going for a before we even go, it's unfortunate that because time is not on our side. I would have given you the process of how when we were looking for a leader until we come to Usenda, but unfortunately time is not on our side. But nonetheless, every 2 years when we are going for a Congress, every position becomes vacant. And we will encourage for anybody to apply for that position. Some of the time, there's absolutely nobody who will apply for this position. The only time people started to talk about UDP plus or Kamara was when the changes happened. Because this is the time government started to come with their hypocritical attitude. Not knowing because we were in a democratic process. Every 2 years we go to a Congress, we send Kakabonda Siran Kane, and only a member.
So is there any time limit? Not a single person that can ban you or that can deter you
can you hear me?
In the next election?
I can hear Talamantre Moikan.
For term limit, coming in these 2 years, do you have to contest every election or every primary at the level of the party to be the flag bearer?
Unfortunately, Mantre Moikan.
Okay, yes, I can wait, right?
Yes, I can hear you, Tyler.
So, do you think there is a democratic process in all the existing political parties in the Gambia?
Well, I think, and I'm going to be a little bit biased here. I think the only political party that has democratic process, or that is doing their way through a democratic process, is Citizens Alliance. I'm going to be a little bit biased here. So I think aside Citizens Alliance, I don't see any political party. Even the party that I learned a lot from, that is DOI. Unfortunately, there are certain principles and doctrines that they go by that I do not agree with. But that do not rule out the fact that I did learn a lot from them. Now, you see, the reason why, the young man was speaking.
Musa, can you hear us? I think Musa need to hear you, Esa.
Yes.
Nombuke boy. Okay, boy, after that.
So you come with it. Okay. You need to hear Esa. Esa is talking about something.
Okay,
go ahead, Esa.
Yeah. So Musa, I wish you can hear me, but maybe after the show he would. Did he mute us? Did he mute us?
No,
maybe you can. If the moderator can hear us, you can ask him if he is.
Yeah, I can hear you, Esa.
Okay, so like I was saying.
Is that the music okay?
Musa, we can hear you.
Yeah.
What's going on? Maybe earpiece or yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I was saying, he was saying that what any elections that they go through, they have to elect Dabo in, and everybody support Dabo, everybody give him that vote. But for me, I think that's not enough. You see, these people are so indoctrinated to such an extent that the only person that they see is nobody but Dabo. All right, for that to be a true reflection of what they really preach, it has to start from party level. When we see changes, we have so many great people in UDP that I have great respect for, that do not rule out Dabo himself. You have the likes of Amadou Scarlett Jani, you have the likes of Alma Metal, and you have the likes of Pamalik Nyasi. Great young people and great adults that when they assume the position, I have no doubt they will bring wonders in the Gambia. But the question is, why are they still clinging on one person? And that person himself, is he relinquishing himself? Is he saying that, you know what, I just want to, for the purpose of democracy and for the purpose of good governance, I want to stay back and allow this person to go? Is he allowing it? Or is he, can you hear me?
Mos, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You need to come back so Musa can know where to fire back.
So Tala was asking whether we have democratic processes in all these political parties that exist in the Gambia. And my answer to him was, I was going to be a little bit biased. I think the only political party in the Gambia that has, true definition of what democracy means, true definition of what it means to respect the views of individuals and their supporters, is no other party in the Gambia as we speak now, apart from Citizens Alliance. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. So Citizens Alliance is the only political party in the Gambia. And you can ask me. You can ask me any questions regarding them. I'll be able to answer you those questions. Unlike other political supporters, if you ask them what the agenda of their parties, they wouldn't be in a position to ask. And I can assure you, every supporter of Citizens Alliance that you speak with, they will be able to tell you what the party stand for and what are the agenda of the party. What policy do they have on women? What policy do they have on children? What policy do they have in every sectors of life as far as governance is concerned? That is Citizens Alliance for you. As we speak now, all right, there is no flag bearer in that political party. People are even assuming that somebody is there. The reason is because there has to be a democratic process for that flag bearer to be seen or to be pronounced to the people. Unlike many political parties, automatically you know who's going to be the flag bearer, even without going through.
Yeah, but Esa, realistically, let me tell you, Gambians are so aware and in line with the present situations that we all know who is destined to be the flag bearer for Citizens Alliance. But
like Musa, we already know right now, because like flyers are going out 2021 lawyer Dabo, even before there are primary election or internal party settlements. Do you think you will challenge Dabo next? Will I see you next 2021 as a potential presidential candidate under the UDP ticket?
Who, me or Dabo?
You. Do you have any aspirations?
No. The trouble is, for me, right now, the UDP. No, I'll make this disclaimer very, very clearly. The UDP is not looking for a flag bearer for 2021. Okay. In Dabo we trust, and in Dabo we're going to put forward. The simple reasons are, we all know UDP is a very democratic democratic party.
But what you said is not democratic.
No, the reason is, I'm coming. No, listen, I'm coming. No, I'm coming. Let me tell you, 2020 Congress, prior to that, even before 2020, 2018, Mr. Dabo have always put himself forward and said, you know what, let's look for somebody else. And these are things that the party executive knows and they can confirm it. But there are some internal issues that we don't need to, I will not come here and talk on that. For example, today, we've worked so hard and put our structures, our structures are in place. We've worked hard to make sure the party is working on a principle, and then we said we cannot come up to this last minute and said, You the people flag bearer Ninola, just to go for 2020 already just at the corner. What are you encouraging and telling us?
But
You telling us, you know what?
Dabo said he's not the flag bearer for now. But he
No,
will,
it's not. No, Dabo is not. 2021. Dabo at this present moment, we are hoping for Dabo to
I think that
reapply it
has to be
again.
cleared, because you
We
said
are hoping.
you are not looking for any
We
flag
are
bearer for now.
We
Dabo
will
is
not
already there.
automatically left to me alone. There will be no contestant for that position if I have my way.
So, but
But
it's
as
not
we said,
democratic.
I said left to me as a person.
Okay.
But because we are a democratic process party, 2021, to end of this year, when IEC allowed for parties to go on Congress, the position will be open again. And anybody can, you know what? People keep on calling people's name. UDP have never stopped anybody to apply for that position.
But that's my feeling when you said that we are not going out to look for a flag bearer.
No, at this point, for me, we don't want any distraction. Our focus is obviously we've got a leader who has been there and ticking all the boxes, right boxes up to now. I can tell you there was a time, yeah. These are things we cannot say on the platforms.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, there was a time when Mr. Dabo felt, you know what, let's look around, and I can tell you, when we were looking around.
When was that?
Yeah, no, this was before JAMMEH leave. This was when the age limit was there. This was when the age limit was there.
Right.
Dabo, obviously, they look at the executive and discussed, and they looked at people. Some people were not even interested because nobody wanted to take the bullet at the time. And this Mr. Dabo was willing to support whoever was elected, because Dabo was not selfish. When you look at that, you know what? There is no opportunity probably for that clauses in the constitution to change, which was discriminatory, which is age. He started to plan for the next person of United Democratic Party because he loves the party more than himself. He was not looking at, he could have been selfish and say, you know what, I'll leave it until at the last minute, no. He called them personally, the executive, and tasked them and said, look, we have to prepare ourselves. These people are still there and this age limit is still there. And I'm getting to the number. Who can we prepare and make sure I go with the person all over the country in the next 2 years before the time and make sure we sell the person? I can tell you some people run under the Laranda Koto. No. So Dabo still was there holding on and putting the party together. Dabo works for this party 24/7. I can tell you that, Mr. Jobe. This guy is talking to diaspora. He's talking to the layman on the street. He's talking to the people in the narco corner, just to make sure that the party stands on its principles and on its ethics and to obey and respect the laws of our country.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. JAMMEH. It has been an interesting marathon of discussion, and we valued your participation. We thank you for coming on this Sukuta platform. Hey, Musa, we are thankful to you and the community of Sukuta and our viewers. This is not going to be the last stop, and then we will share different views. We will share different opinion on matters that affect all of us. But at the end of the day, it's Gambia that is our interest. It's Gambia that you and I, what we enjoy in our different countries is what we want to see. The same woman in Sukuta going to the same Nako, the same Kolongo, the same Bankwaka, Dokoke Walto. That land is dead. That soil is dead. We need a better, mechanized agricultural process where we can all live in a better community. Well, Musa, we thank you so much, man, for coming. It was prompt. It was not even planned. It was just 11th hour that Ibu was able to bring you on board. But thank you, man. Your voices are heard, and we appreciate you. And we wish what we all want for our country to be the desire of all of us. Thank you so much. And then last word from Esa. I know the B52 with Musa will come again. I'll bring you back again, Musa and Esa, where we'll go very raw and on political issues. Esa, what is your take on this last?
Yeah, I do want to make a quick disclaimer there. I know I publicly declared, my political affiliation, but whatever I say here is not the standpoint of Citizens Alliance. It's entirely mine. If I'm wrong, whatever wrong I have said here, I take full blame of whatever has been said. And I do also wanna say, if I did say anything that do not go well with
No, you are safe.
my
Sukuta
UDP
boy is in charge.
comrades,
You are safe.
So
Well,
I do not want to be receiving
this
those
is
bombs and
democracy, man.
attacks.
You need to have a soft heart. We are fine. This is what we enjoy. It's healthy for us. And this is a very
Oh,
healthy
and
debate,
that's
and
the
I
good.
love
That,
it.
Yeah.
Like
We
Ezra,
are looking for votes. We have to be able to convince and tell
exactly.
people what we
And
stand
no
for, and
harassing,
therefore we
no
have to.
insult,
So
and
this
all
was
that.
healthy. This is healthy. If it
This
was
is
all like agreeing to each other, then there will be no point in being here. Especially when I was told there are two people coming from different angles with different perspectives. I said, it's interesting. I'll join it.
Absolutely,
Yeah. And to me, I did not put on my party lens. You all observe that.
everybody know you are done. So
No, but I'm trying to moderate things here, and I don't put
so
on
I
my party
don't
lens.
know that.
Well, thank you, gentlemen,
Yeah,
from
yeah.
wherever you are. It's a pleasure having you all here. Until we come your way, another 2 weeks' time, we'll be talking about pertinent issues. Special thanks to Mr. S. Akinte, a Gambian based in the United States, in Tennessee, right? And Mr. MUSA JAMMEH, a Gambian based in the UK. Thank you so much until we come your way. And thanks to our very, very able technician, Mr. Ibrahim Abojang, who is also based in the UK, trying to make Sukuta heard, our voices heard, in a platform where we can all agree for the good of our nation. Thank you, guys, and have a great weekend ahead.
All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Gambia Musa, Janing Musugana Jama na Janjunda, Bilinda the Senegal.